Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here playing Hearts of Iron 3's Black Ice 11.2. And if this is not your first time, or if this is your first time here, hey, I hope I earn your subscription. Everybody, I hope I earn you hitting that like button. Okay, we're going to. I notice we're out of spies. Let's that. Excuse me. Still just waking up. Now we have a carrier group over here. Let's add down here in the bottom 3 light cruisers. Cruisers. Is there a comm sub pack? Seats are sort of strangely organized here. I don't know why some of. I get the scouting force and the U.S. Atlantic Squadron are here. Why is Asiatic Fleet there? I'm going to undo this and do it to Pacific High Command. And Arno is over there on Facebook, so we are live there. Good. Okay, well. The immense size of the Pacific. It's just huge. All right. Now, we have a lot of things, mostly infrastructure, but other things as well, reducing our ICs. So we're back to just building ships, though we started to build fortifications in the Pacific. So we're going to hopefully get back to that soon and in enough time. At least that is the hope. I may not be building enough ground forces, but we will see, won't we? Bomber crew layout. Well, we might not have enough of them, but we're going to have some very up-to-date aircraft, I think, by the time the war comes. How is the audio doing, Arno? Is it good? for HQ. It is very good to hear, Arno. Very good to hear. Yes, you can have energy. Who wants this? United Kingdom. Yes, we will do this for United Kingdom's sake. And that will give us, I think, enough money. We're going to invest in more gold. Yes. Good. That and regimental combat teams. 41. Well, let's see if we can find a 40 technical. That like down here. Let's do 8. Do division HQs. That would be good. Classes advance. Here. Let's see about improving armor piercing ammunition. Let's see about improving high explosive. Those 6-inch guns, basically. 5-inch, 6-inch. Okay. Panama no longer Arctic warfare. Good. Be able to deal in cold. Line. Not that that is where we want to end up, but we have things like hydrophones to do. And Romania is mobilizing. Let's take a look at the European Theater of Operations. Well, they're almost at Arno's house. They're pushing around here. I guess there's a force up here stopping the Germans. And they're holding out in Liège and the fortifications there, and Antwerp, and have yet to get to the... I'm pretty sure there's fortifications at Brussels as well. And the Germans have taken out the Danes, and they're moving up into Norway. State of the war in Europe. Oh, and they finally got rid of that little rebellion. Nope, they moved into there just now. Okay. Special Forces Combined Arms. And enforce conquer on Norway. Medium bomber prototypes. All of that to be researched. Get to there. Soon. Army headquarters, which I think is this one. And we're going to let that continue. Okay, so we get gold, goods, Soviet Union taking out the Baltic states, and heavy bomber prototypes has advanced. Yep, I think we're going to start looking at getting these done. And we still don't yet have enough free spies, so that means a little too much. Here's do that. Luxembourg has been annexed. Okay, get aluminum back. We're still holding out a bit. Okay, Italy. No, we're not trading with Italy. Aluminum surplus. Good. We give them money. Okay, you want money? Yeah, okay, we can do that. Sure. Oh, they've pushed across up here. Light bomber prototypes. Sure. Aramco established in the Arabian Peninsula following major oil discoveries. So oil is going to be found out there. Yep, they're fighting back. But once their flank is turned up here, I think it's doomed for them. But you're going to hit Amsterdam from two ways. Infantry support weapons. Maybe eventually. I think we're going to do fault tactic. Because it is so out of date. Oh, and I've taken in Antwerp and Liège. Basing advances. Now we can get engines. We want the fighters to be as those are a bit okay. Whatever. Did we not get the basing done? I thought. Yeah, okay. Need supplies. We're getting them from the Allies just to help them more than we're doing it to help ourselves. Now for an engine. Okay, we'll pause. Okay, well first let's see what does Zealand want. New Zealand. British colony named after the part of the Netherlands, yes. 1 unit submarines. Okay, you can get a production license for submarines. All right. Okay. Old Ironsides. President, we shall inform the division, or shall we form the division headquarters for the 1st Armored Division, Old Ironsides, at Fort Knox, Kentucky. Historically, July 15th, 1940. The 1st Armored Division, largely an expanded and reorganized version of the 7th Cavalry Brigade, was activated at Fort Knox under Major General Bruce Magruder. The 1st Cavalry Regiment was redesignated the 1st Armored Regiment, and the 13th Cavalry Regiment was redesignated the 13th Armored Regiment. How clever of them, under the 1st Armored Brigade, the 1st Division. For more than 2 years after its activation, the 1st Armored Division trained at Fort Knox. Division pioneered and developed tank gunnery. Okay. Hold on a second. Captured. Okay. Right. 1st Armored Corps formation. Shall we form the Armored Corps headquarters of the 1st at Fort Knox historically? Okay. We have both. We have a division here, and we have a Corps HQ here. Right, okay. Division headquarters. Sonar and detection equipment. Good. And that, and it's grayed out. Okay. Still the old tank models I see. Yeah, we're at Christie T3 for armor, and now the M3 Stuart actually for the light armor. So they've gotten a slightly more up to date. I really want this fleet. Here, we're going to get these in August, July and August, so that will free up. Some of these are going to take a while to build. Not too long, hopefully, but I want to get them building, be able to hold out in the Pacific. Oh, way down to there. Prolong, yeah, we're going to prolong the Neutrality Act. Radios have advanced. Very good. Let's see about we got high popularity. Good. Don't know if we'll be able to maintain it. Aviation air search. I think that is here. Okay. And navigation. Good. We'll go that next. How about aircraft models? Okay, we'll take a look at that in a moment. Carrier. What sort of radars, if any, do we have here for carrier? Well, a lot of cruisers. So let's do cruiser surface search. Spot ships on the surface. And we can also do air search. Get aircraft up in the air, spot them. Okay, ooh, okay, yes. I guess we want to do this. Iowa. Postpone our mine expansion by 6 months. Now we have the Iowa here. Well, August 42. Well, we're not going to add it because that's 10 ICs, and I want to have those 10 ICs sooner rather than later. And we're going to move all these guys down as well. We're going to leave, yeah, light cruisers. not really yet. I don't know the dates of its development, but most of the Army in December 1941, most of the Army is still equipped with the 1903 Springfield. If I remember correctly, the forces out in the Pacific are almost exclusively armed with the, the Army forces out in the Pacific are armed with the Springfield. South Africa, do I want that much money now? Armed with the Springfield. All the divisions out in the Philippines and whatnot are doing that. Yeah, it's a great rifle. There's some controversy whether the probably many of you know this, and I don't know for sure whether Arno knows this. During World War I, most nations needed more of everything, just needed more. The British were sort of looking at and updating their rifles after the experience of the Boer Wars and fighting against the Mausers that many of the Boers carried. Not all of them. We have the sort of the newer Mausers. Some were carrying older, 88s and whatnot, and a few carried Craig Jorgensens, I hear. But the war sort of interrupts the plans to redo the Enfield. The Enfield has become it's a very good rifle, but it's been an evolving rifle, and it sort of has vestigial unused or unneeded bits on it from earlier versions of it, and could be cleaned up. Well, I don't remember all the details, but they're thinking about going after something sort of like a Mauser. Well, with the war, they just produce more Enfields, just do more Enfields. So they go to America, and it takes a while, but a sort of a second alternative rifle that they want to get is based on on the Mausers, called the P14. And it takes a while to get it in production, but they do. And I don't think the British, I don't remember the production numbers, but the British use some of them, but I don't think any in combat, because it just ends up being, a rear area weapon. And it's in 303 Enfield. And then you have America entering the war, and it needs more as well. And it's trying to equip its forces with the 1903 Springfield, which is a derivative of the Mauser. But they need more, so they convert basically all of the productions of the P14 into what they call the P17, which is a 30-06 version of the gun, which, again, the P14 and the P17 are versions of the Mauser. So, yeah, U.S. secondary rifle is the P17. Now, it is used in combat, and if I'm not mistaken, Sergeant York, the famous Sergeant York, actually carries a P17 in his famous actions. But the American Army wants to downplay the P17 and relegate it to secondary service. So with the downsizing of the Army after World War I, they all get put into reserves. And I think the overwhelming... No, I don't have one of those. Nope. They're cool, but I don't have one. 1903 Springfield. They send a huge amount of the P-17s to Britain after, the Dunkirk situation and losing a lot of their rifles and equipment, to bolster British supplies. So the Americans virtually, I'm not going to say none, but virtually none, are used in World War II. So, but which is better? There's debates between the O3 and the P14 or P17. Rifles in British services series data arms were P14s or P17s. Were they? I'm not sure. It's been so long since I've seen that, and I've just only seen some episodes. A few years ago, I started to try to rewatch the whole series, and I probably should try again. I want to watch it through in order. I do like the series. I've seen some of the episodes, but just sort of random episodes, not all the way through. Okay, medium velocity guns, which will allow us to research other stuff once we get a little more research. And the 1903 Springfield has, by this period, has been updated mainly by moving the gun sight. The rear sight was in front of the where the bolt is, and right over the chamber. They move it back to closer to your eyes to get a longer sight radius. A little easier to use that way. So that is the main update for World War II. But that is, for units in the Pacific at least, that is the most common or almost exclusively used weapon. By the time you get into the torch landings, most, if not all, of the American infantry is equipped with the M1 Garands. Now, up and through to the end of the war, you can see, like in the Battle of Bulge, where you have, cooks and artillerymen forced into the front lines. Some of those guys are carrying 1903 Springfields because a lot of people whose jobs that weren't to pull a trigger, at least not on a rifle or a machine gun, were issued with the 1903s just because you're hopefully never going to need them. It's just to have a rifle. And they also produced them in fairly large numbers and shipped them to China throughout the war. So they keep in production, to the best of my knowledge, through to the end of the war, the U.S.A. But I so much would rather have a M1 Garand than an O3. So much. Just a semi-auto rifle versus a bolt action. And if you're doing a sniper rifle, and they also did sniper rifles in the O3, yeah, that's okay. Just because you're going slower. You're dealing with it, at ranges and target times that you hopefully don't need to shoot fast. Oh, well, we had a really good movie night last night, Arno. You missed that. That was good. We watched Where Eagles Dare. Hey, guys. I don't know that it sucked. The M1D? I haven't heard specifically that it sucked. I have not shot one or anything, but no problem. No need to be sorry. It's you missed out, not not so much us. Okay, so we have some heavy cruisers, right? Looks like crap. Yeah. Well. I'm wondering, I do want an Atlantic fleet here. We already have that cruiser. What do we have out here for? Okay, I think we will split these. Between the two battleship divisions. No, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to send these over to here. Now, I don't know with the mod if they're going to force a Pearl Harbor on me, even if I don't have any ships in Pearl Harbor. Hey, Vigil? Vigil? Good to have you here. I mean, standard, but not. Yeah, well. I think the M1 Garand makes a decent sniper rifle. It may not be the best sniper rifle by any means, but I think it makes a decent one. And I keep thinking about conditions and situations with small arms and how I would want to use them. If I'm looking at World War II and where we had in most cases, a sufficient numbers of divisions, units, whatever you want to call them, battling the Germans, to having some guys with their very accurized 1903s with scopes on them, set up so that they can't take stripper clips, so you got to load one round each time. You're probably pretty good because you can sort of pick and choose where you want to be a sniper, try to get into positions that are favorable. And if you're being a sniper, at least God, I don't know all the combat situations, the millions of combat situation soldiers were in during the war. But I'm sort of picturing the idea that when you're sort of the company sniper, you're not going to be one of the guys ordered to assault some position. You're not going to be, oh yeah, you're in the squad that's going to assault the trenches or the machine gun position. So you go, okay, you're not going to be that way, so you don't need a semi-auto weapon. So you can go to sort of, well, hey, you're going after that machine gun position. Well, I'm going to go over here, wherever here is, and get a good, line of sight on it to try to snipe the machine gun position or other friendly, other enemy supporting units to the machine gun position. So you get there, whether you're crawling or running or just walking because it's behind a hill or hedgerow or something, but you get there and you get sort of set up, if you will, not elaborately but just enough, and you take shots when you want to, and if you start to think you've shot too many times from your position, you change positions, and you sort of, to some degree, doing what you want on the conditions that you find favorable. So you're sort of in charge of yourself, if you will. Now, you may be given very much directions like suppress that machine gun position or watch that flank or whatever. It's not that you get to saunter about the battlefield and do whatever the hell you feel like. You're given direction, but you're sort of independently managing yourself more so with that type of weapon. Now, if I'm picturing myself in Korea and the masses of Chinese attacking you and the desperate situations that the Americans got themselves into. Not entirely, I mean, MacArthur's fault on the battlefield sense, not MacArthur's fault in the sense that, I know he's basically fired over this, but that the Chinese come into the war. you know, he was being victorious and then the Chinese entered the Korean War. And if I was in that situation, I would want, even if I was the sniper, I would want a semi-automatic rifle because, yeah, being charged at by thousands of angry Chinese, yeah, having a semi-auto rifle would be good, and precise shooting would be lower priority for me. So, yeah, it's situational. Okay, structural improvements here. Okay, that's one and done, and close air support prototype. And that's grayed out, of course, so we will do medium fuel tank and twin engine. All those going to being upgraded. And sniper weapons are a specialty weapon by definition. And you need to you know, take in the battlefields that you're likely to find to judge what specialty weapons you want to have. Where the M1 Garand is a general service weapon, needing to serve basically in all conditions. Yes, we're going to do the heavy armor. Arno. Tungsten, South Africa. Okay, we'll do that. Bismarck is launched. Here you go. That way we can now do that. And that to, oh no, wrong group. I don't want to slow you up with heavy cruisers. I don't know if they really would slow it up, but battleship division. Firepower division. We may switch out some of the carriers once we get light carriers, but I want to keep a carrier with each of these two battleship groups. Okay, hell on wheels. Hell on wheels. President, shall we form the division headquarters for the 2nd Armored Division Hell on Wheels at Fort Benning, Georgia? Historically, the 2nd Armored Division Hell on Wheels was an armored division of the United States Army. Played an important role during World War II, invasions of North Africa and Sicily, and liberating France, Belgium, and Netherlands, and the invasion of Germany. Second formed. Yes, excellent. Excellent. So we now have 2nd Armored Division headquarters. We've got a bot here. No, I don't think we're gonna. Well, okay, we're gonna save this here and end the episode. We don't want to get these be too long. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. Please post questions, comments, suggestions, tips below. I love hearing from you. See you next time for, yes, more Hearts of Iron. Now,